Department of Corrections expected to appear before the New York City Council to address some recent issues: illegal recordings of prisoners and their lawyers, the death of 2 prisoners, and the accidental release of 2 inmates.
That's a lot to tackle, right? So here with a look at what is going on is New York City Councilmember Keith Powers. Good morning. Thanks for being with us, Councilman.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you're also the chairman of the City Council's Criminal Justice Committee. I know there is a hearing today, but as we just mentioned, there are a lot of big issues, 3 that we just mentioned. How in the world was someone released accidentally? We've got 2 inmates that this occurred with.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable, and we're going to find out today a little more of what happened, but it appears that in both instances, paperwork error made at the court level and also at the Department of Corrections level led to 2 individuals being released mistakenly. And I don't hear about that happening very often, twice in a small time period. And that's happening in the backdrop of everything else you mentioned as well. So it's really unbelievable. It's really unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I do believe the individuals have been brought back.
Well, one inmate in particular has been back in custody. Any updates on where that second inmate is? And we had the corrections union on right now saying that top leadership needs to be fired.
Yeah, we have. I don't have a status, but we're going to get one today. Individual. But I've called this weekend into a question of what exactly is happening over the department in light of the releases, 2 deaths that have happened in custody recently, and also, of course, the big report yesterday that over 1,500 phone calls that we know of were illegally recorded. Those are private conversations between an individual in custody and a lawyer or a social worker that are not supposed to be recorded. Some of those have made it in the hands of the district attorneys. It's
mind-blowing because, first of all, as you mentioned, these are illegal recordings. It should have never happened in the first place. But then for it to enter into the hands of district attorney, I mean, these are people that are trying to present a case against the folks who are talking to their attorneys. And so how do you even go about trying to resolve those cases when now the whole information, the evidence and whatnot has been somewhat tainted?
You nailed it. It's somewhat. I've been in disbelief about the whole thing, and luckily we have an opportunity today to find out more information about exactly how many of those made it into the hands of district attorneys and exactly what the status is of all those.
How did it happen? No. How did it happen? Who made the discovery that it was actually happening, and then how the heck did it happen?
Who started recording?
Yeah. A few weeks ago in February, myself and the city council speaker had heard a possibility that this had happened from one of the public defenders who had uncovered this while in discovery on one of their cases, that one of their phone calls was in there. And so we had alerted the Department of Corrections that we had heard about this. They came back to us with some belief that there was a few cases where this happened. And then just this past week, we heard the big number of over 1,500 total. So we had sort of pried the door open here to find out about what's going on, but we might find out that there's more.
And does that lead to acquittals? Does it lead to class action lawsuits? Where does that even begin to go?
Let me ask you.
We're going to talk. Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question, because we have to get to other topics here. But I've covered Rikers and corrections for years now. I've talked to you a number of times. It seems there's always an issue with top leadership. Or do you think Commissioner Brand needs to step down and there needs to be a new leader put in place?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your ongoing coverage here. Look, I haven't called for any change at this point, but I am talking to the mayor's office, who's ultimately accountable here too, to make sure that we know what happened and have an investigation and an audit of all the issues. And then we're going to take a look at who caused it and what happened. But it's definitely concerning about the last few weeks. And the COVID's been hard for everyone, but this does not rise to the level of being acceptable under COVID or any time. It's really unbelievable. Yeah,
but quickly back to my question: does that possibly lead to acquittals in these cases?
I'm not sure. We're talking to the district attorneys about what the status of what they're doing and how much evidence of the phone from the phone calls they have. But I think it would certainly change some of the cases here. We haven't talked to district attorneys yet to find out exactly the status of what we're doing that.
And then who knows what kind of lawsuits are going to follow after that. All right.
Yeah.
Quickly, though, let's talk about denouncing anti-Asian hate in New York City and the area. There were more suspected bias crimes reported in just, the past 24 hours. What are your thoughts on this problem and how we need to address that?
Yeah, it's the last few weeks and months and the year even have been absolutely horrible and horrifying. And the attacks that we're seeing on the Asian American community here in New York City, obviously goes without saying, have no place here. But right now, I think that I've talked to the mayor's office and others about redoubling our efforts here to be preventative and also to make sure that they're not happening. But I think we saw a bit of a failed leadership over the last year here in this country to denounce these attacks that were happening early on in COVID. And I think it's incumbent on us, and myself included, to make sure that we're denouncing these and speaking out against them. And also, I think New Yorkers have to patrol their own behavior and their own networks of people, because we know that sometimes it starts with a misbelief or a bad comment. And we have to really police our own behavior as well, and our own people, in our own lives. It's really concerning, and I've been encouraged by seeing how much New York has shown up for our fellow New Yorkers. We also have to act swiftly to both be more preventative, have more resources out there, and also New Yorkers have to be vigilant in policing behavior in their own lives.
There's a lot on the agenda today. Good luck with the hearing. Councilman Powers, thanks for being with us.
Keep us posted.
Yeah,
on the
thank
hearing.
you.